All right, let's get you across to the new stream. Over. So we're going to copy this and we will paste it here. Click on that to come to the new stream. Hi, everyone. Hey. All right. Hello again. Long time no see, everyone. How did you find me here? Oh, gosh, technology. So, all right, here we go. I'm going to shut down. Well, there's still people in the other room, so I'm waiting for them to hopefully see the other stream before I shut it down. Studio, the software that I've been using, can go and crash all it likes. We back, Zinbrui. So, I forgot where we were up to. What was I talking about before I went and froze on screen? Neo is coming for me. Oh, Henry, yes. Yes. There's a new movie being made. Did you know that there's a new Matrix movie coming? So who has a question about the semester coming up? Oh, I think we've got less lag, less latency with this chat without that stupid encoder. Oh, great. Good, good, good. Do I recommend summary notes at the end of each week, or notes and lectures, or readings, or both? Oh, as in taking notes? Oh, you are going to love this assignment that we've got planned for you this semester. So it's safe to say that some of the practical class activities that we're going to guide you through are going to help you explore which, I suppose, note-taking and study strategy would be most effective to help you remember. In my experience, Isis, the way in which I like to take notes is not by scribbling down every word that's said. And you don't need to anymore, because obviously the lecture slides have got text on them. There's generally accompanying notes, and you can refer to a text as well. But when I'm listening to someone, I'm really trying to understand what the concept is that they're trying to portray in a lecture, for example. And I will maybe try to make it relevant for myself as I listen, and try to think about how the content that's being delivered might relate to something that I already know about, something in my own life or in my own work, for example. And my notes will be generally around making intersections with things that I already know about, and in doing so, already starting to think about and explore and potentially remember the content in a deeper way than just sort of writing things out by rote. So, seeing it's your first semester at uni for so many of you, I'd encourage you to experiment and to see what works for you. So on one hand, there's the idea of effectiveness, of how well a particular study and memory strategy maybe works for you. But then there's also the practical side of things. So whilst that something might be really great for remembering, it might not be practical to implement a certain strategy given your timetable, or maybe there's somewhere where you can build in a certain strategy into your timetable to employ you. How is the first assignment going to be? So we've got one assignment per se for the semester, and that's going to be an essay, and that will be due in week 8. Got the knack of this. And, you know, I had the knack of this. People I know had the knack of this at university, but now we're actually going to teach everybody how to do it. And that is how to understand an assignment brief and how to understand marking criteria. So when you're given an assignment brief, what I'm talking about there is being given an assignment topic that you must respond to. And then we're going to get you to learn how to look at the marking criteria, which are the criteria that your markers will judge your assignment by, and learn how to develop work targeting those market criteria specifically, and learn to interrogate or evaluate your own work using those marking criteria, so that you should know by the time you submit your assignment roughly what an expert would give you for a mark. That's where I intend to take you by the time you're writing your assignment this semester. Oh, we're lagging a little bit, are we? All right, I might shut down that. Oh, there's still 2 people watching in the other stream. It's so sad. Do we just leave them be? I think we let them go. The poor little darlings. I'll send them another message. We'll see if they come in. It is here. Oh, now there's 5 people in the other stream. Oh my God. Let them go, and if they come back, they're with us. Yeah. All right. Very good. Yeah, sorry. I suspect that there's a couple of issues that are going on, and it's related to, I think, the weather out here where I live. I'm in my home office today because I needed to use my big screen behind the camera here. I've got a big screen, and I needed to use that today for some spreadsheet work and looking at setting things up for the 1,990 people that are in Mind, Brain, and Behavior 1. So unfortunately, it's windy out where I live, which is on the Bellarine Peninsula, out across the bay. So I take a boat to work, believe it or not, every day. I take a ferry across the bay. And today it's windy, and you know, God forbid, the Australian government could have given us NBN internet infrastructure that could have stood up to a drop of rain or a gust of wind. Yeah. Your home office is your bed. That sounds comfortable. Nice. Well done. What happens in pracs? Oh, we talked about that earlier on, but the basic idea actually is that that's where we do exploration of content and some interesting and fun activities, and you learn skills, not necessarily just learning new content like you do in the lectures. Wait, did you say there are 1,900 students enrolled in the subject? Brian, there are 1,990. Is it possible to maintain WAMBO? Oh, WAM 80 plus. WAMBO. In psych subjects. I did. Yes, of course. Absolutely. Yeah. Yes, it absolutely is. Just like anything else, Jocelyn, if you're offering of Mind, Brain, and Behavior 1 to be very accessible and not too difficult to do very well in. I'm trying to set this up, and we've all tried to set this up to be a really enriching and rewarding and interesting educational experience, and one that's not stressful. Do I recommend notes after lectures? Yeah, I think it's always useful to review your notes, like summary notes. Yeah, I think that's useful. I would try with I suppose if I was writing a summary, I would not try and summarize absolutely everything. It would be a little bit too much. But what you'll find is that your lecturers will more than likely build in each lecture or to each class 1, 2, or maybe 3 at a stretch core messages, really take home messages that are the core concepts that you need to understand as part of that class. And so if I was you, I'd be thinking about what are the core concepts that were delivered in this class? What were the core themes? And maybe that's what I might start by summarizing. Once I understood what the main take-home messages were, then sure, then I might start to elaborate, and you could even draw a mind map and explore some more of the detail that was presented. But start with those core concepts, I think. That's the way I like to go about it. When will the lecture notes be up on LMS? It will vary from lecturer to lecturer. So we're just putting the finishing touches on some things. It depends on what the lecturer wants to achieve. You will find that they may release them day by day, typically the day before the lecture is to be given. You can find all of my lectures already online, recorded. They're in the Psychological Research Methods folder. Now, I've been made aware this morning or yesterday afternoon that the quizzes that I prepared for the 12 online modules are not there. So they've got lost in the system somehow. And I've got a request that I've submitted to have that fixed. So they should appear any day now if they haven't already. The way in which we've approached the subject is assuming that people have no prior knowledge. Sure, some people may have taken high school psychology, and in fact, Meredith, who's going to be your first lecturer, she is the person that sets the VCE curriculum for psychology. So she knows exactly what you've studied. And so the content that we provide is at a higher level than anything that would have come at high school. And yet it can be accessed by, yes, and we will release these well ahead of when you need to do them. Ashley, are there any must-dos for students in terms of assignments? Are there recommended textbooks posted on the LMS already? The answer to those questions are yes and yes. And the answer, you can find all of these answers in the subject manual. So if you log into Canvas, on the front page, subject manual, and that's a document I've put together for you that has all of those details listed out. How hard is it to get into the Master of Clinical Psychology? Well, you're at the start of your journey, Isabella, so I suppose I'd encourage you to keep an open mind. But again, if it's something that you want and you work towards, then there's every reason to expect that you can attain it. So there's a lot of study that you need to do first to get into the Master of Clinical Psychology. So firstly, you need to do Mind, Brain and Behavior 1 and Mind, Brain and Behavior 2 in second semester, and then go on to do a major in psychology. And you could do that from a Bachelor of Science or Arts or whatever. And then you need to do an honors year, which is the 4th year. And that's where you learn advanced coursework, and you also work one-on-one with one of the members of academic staff, like myself, to do a real research project and to write that up in a thesis. And once you've completed your honors year, then you can get into the master's degree of clinical psychology, and that will involve advanced coursework around clinical psychology, around psychological disorders and treatments and assessment, and it will involve placements where you start to learn to work with people who are living with experiences of mental health issues. And then you also need to do another research project and another research thesis. So there's Zinrui's back. Oh, with an evil laugh. Yikes, I'm going to look out for you. I will tend to do these live streams just spontaneously from time to time as well. So keep an eye out for me on YouTube. I'll be going just live randomly when I'm at a conference or when I'm out in the field doing research. So as well as getting you all started, in the next 4 weeks, I will be doing research on a big national research project that I have right now. And I'll be flying to, all right, where are we going? Sydney next week, then Alice Springs, rural New South Wales, Geraldton in Western Australia, Queensland in 2 projects. I'll be going live from time to time. Rajdeep, sorry. Rajdeep, I had never done psychology before I came to Mind, Brain, Behavior 1. I think you're going to find it not too difficult at all. I think the difficult bits, we are going to help you and support you to access the difficult concepts. The subject has been completely refreshed this year. It doesn't even slightly resemble what it did last year. It's so much better and a lot possible. Ash, is clinical psychology do neuropsychology? So clinical psychology is about psychological disorder and treating psychological disorder, whereas neuropsychology is more about disorder that's related to organic brain issues, like maybe a stroke, dementia. There's a range of different things that you can end up specializing in. And if you want to do go the whole hog, so to speak, if you want to do the PhD, then there is an even broader range of topics that you can explore. So, for example, I was really interested in clinical psychology. I was also really interested in auditory processing. So when you get into sensation and perception this semester, you'll learn about how you process sound information. And I found that particularly fascinating as I was going through the various years of study. And I wanted to know how I could marry these two. And it just so happened that one of the first clients that I'd ever worked with face-to-face was a florid voice hearer. He heard voices all the time and that weren't there. So my PhD was actually looking at the experience of hearing voices in schizophrenia from an auditory processing perspective. And I worked with people with schizophrenia who heard voices and tested their ability to process auditory information. And in a nutshell, I found that people who heard voices processed information about sound in a different way to the way in which people who didn't hear voices did. So in terms of the master's and the PhD degrees, I suppose they've got different requirements, but you certainly get to do a lot of research. How big do you think the master's thesis would be for the clinical psychology? How many words do you think the assignment, the big assignment would be? You can probably hear rumbling. I can hear my motorbike starting up. Thankfully, I know that it's not being stolen. I know what's happening. The gardener is coming in, and my partner is starting up my motorbike to move it. But that just surprised me there for a second. Henry hits it on the head. So yeah, a clinical master's thesis is about 10,000 words. That's the same with an honours year thesis. The 4th year thesis is about 10,000 words. If you want to do the PhD, you can go up to 100,000 words. And I snuck my PhD thesis in just under 100,000. On a scale of 1 to 10, though, Rajdeep, about how hard you'd find Mind-Brain Behavior 1, that's a really difficult question to ask. Again, it's accessible, but it's not too accessible, right? So we don't want to make it boring. You want to come out feeling like you've accomplished something, yeah? And you will. You'll come out at the end of this semester. I guarantee if you stick with us for the semester, you'll come out having enjoyed yourself, having learned, having had a really enriching educational experience, and also feeling like you've accomplished something that you never have before. Henry, do you get a prize? Why are you getting a prize? Oh, right. Henry, yes, I would have given you a prize. However, your previous comment asking about textbooks, it's all in the subject manual. So I feel like you've sort of cancelled yourself out there. You're heading towards a prize. Then I saw that comment. I was like, he doesn't get a prize. I have a feeling you will get a prize at some point, Henry. Where should I look for help if I want to improve writing skills in psychological essay? Like a systematic program. Mary, wouldn't it be exactly what we've done? So we have got a program that has been developed over the last year, roughly, that is getting rolled out in Mind, Brain and Behavior 1 this semester to do exactly that, to help you improve your writing skills and to teach you how to write, give you an assignment topic and leave you alone to do it. We're going to support you all the way. And you know how I was talking about accomplishment and growth? And there's no point in doing university study, right? If you're not going to grow and feel accomplished. You are going to grow during this semester in Mind, Brain and Behavior 1. You're going to learn new skills and new knowledge. And some of the skills that you're going to learn are indeed around writing for psychology. Okay, how are we going? Are we still lagging or are we doing okay? Oh, this stream's going on. Chat board here. What have I missed? Okay, Isis asks, what are the best things first-year students can do to prepare for their first weeks of uni? Okay, I would suggest... that's actually a really great question, Isis. So I think that a great way to prepare yourself with volumes of information, and that this is going to feel overwhelming for a period of time, and that there's going to be a period of time where you feel like you might not be up to this, or this might all just be too much, or that you don't know what's going on. And I can guarantee you that most people will feel like that at some point early in semester, and particularly in your first semester. When you get into your second year, it's all going to become well rehearsed, and you'll know exactly what's going on. But I suppose what I'd encourage that to you, and giving you lots of information about the course, and there's lots of information on Canvas already about the course, and to, I suppose, be mindful that that's going to take some time to sink in and for you to find your feet. So I think that's probably the best advice that I could give you, is just to let it take the time that it takes to start to feel like you're oriented and like you know what's going on. It'll take a little time, and I'm going to be here every week checking in with you so that we can have conversations about things that you're not sure about, and we'll construct this mind, brain, behavior one thing all together. Oh dear, I feel like the NBN is conspiring against us. Okay, everybody's having problems with the internet. So can you still hear and see me? Big delays. Yes, we can. That's very Obama of you, Henry. Chat who was here in Mind, Brain and Behavior 2 last year. So at some point in time, I'm going to introduce you to Charlie. Does anybody know who Charlie is? Who wants to meet Charlie? All right, hang on a second. I'm going to get Charlie. I think he's just outside the door. Oh my God, we're meeting Charlie. All right, let me get Charlie. I think I can hear him just outside the door. Hold on one second. Charlie, come on. Here is Charlie. Come on. So everyone, come here. Hello. Charlie was a puppy that I got last year. Can you come up here? Charlie's a puppy that I got last year when we were doing Mind, Brain and Behavior 1. So he's 1 year old. He's a chocolate Labrador. It's just about his birthday. And Charlie might come to a lecture. Should we bring you to a lecture sometime? What do you think? Hey? Yeah? He is. He's a chocolate Labrador. Up here? Oh, is this your ball? It's one of his balls. He's got many toys. Does anybody know what happened last year when I brought Charlie to a lecture? Has this fable gotten around? Tanya, do you know what I'm talking about? Oh, okay, Tanya's all for it. Charlie was a very young pup. He came to a lecture at the end of Mind, Brain and Behavior 1 last year. He was only a few months old. and Charlie did something on stage that nobody in last year's Mind, Brain and Behavior 1 cohort would ever forget. Didn't you, Charlie? Insert poo emoji here. Didn't you? The lecture recording is hilarious, I've got to tell you. Yes. Tanya, what happened? Charlie did a big poo on the stage during my lecture. Didn't you? It was disgraceful. Come here. Yes. But I still love you, and everybody still loved you. Yes, they did. Everybody still loved you. Yeah. Does Charlie learn MBB with us? Oh, Charlie's just activated Siri on the computer. Get your ball. Here you go. I think Meredith is going to bring her dog to uni when she's teaching you about learning and operant and classical conditioning. And there's actually a video out there. If you go hunting through my YouTube channel, there's a video that we might show again this year, or I might go out and see some of my colleagues who are SEAL trainers at Melbourne Zoo. Go back out in a second, darling. Hang on. Where we did some exploration of the learning content with the seals and looked at how you could train a seal or a dog or a human. It's all pretty much the same. You are learning operant and classical conditioning, Henry, but you might learn it in more of an advanced way than you had before. Charlie and I color coordinated. You know what, Alexandra, Maria, I think we might be. Oh, he's pulling me off my chair. Come up here. Can you come up here? We're sort of color coordinated. Will you get that for me? Good boy. Good boy. Well done. All right. So who's got another Mind, Brain and Behavior 1 question? Is there anything else we want to talk about before we finish up? You've been great. We've been hanging out together for nearly an hour and 20 minutes. Thanks for hanging in with us. Go and get that. So at the very least, you can expect to see Charlie around campus. He'll certainly be in live streams all the time, but you can see him on campus. He comes to my lab all the time and hangs out with the people working in my lab. That's a really good question, Mary. So the grades that are counted towards your entrance mark for the honors degree in psychology come from the second and don't count towards entry into honors for psychology, but you have to have done them to get into honors for psychology. Is the content from the pre-readings in the exam? There is going to be some core readings, Alexandra, Maria, that are examined. And give me that. No, give it to me. Drop it. Good boy. And get that. Hey, well done. Good boy. Okay, so if anybody wants to sneak in a last minute question, now's the time to do it. I think that's probably about going to wind us up for the stream. I'd like to thank you all very much for coming and hanging out. I hope you found this helpful and to be a nice start to Mind, Brain and Behavior 1 for O Week. And we will keep talking regularly, at least once a week, as we go along throughout the entire semester. You're very welcome, Jen, Monique. So thank you very much for tuning in. I'm going to publish the recording of both of the streams up on Canvas, so you can refer back to them if you like. Looking forward to meeting you all in person. Yes, absolutely, Tanya. Yourselves a great day. Remember, don't stress. This will all unfold as it will, and it will just be fine. Just focus on enjoying and learning new interesting things about psychology, and it'll be great. Okay, everyone, take care, and I will talk to you again very soon. Bye now.